They just need to get this final out, and Megan Harmon looking to do it right here with this third strike.
Mentioned that Hudson is the shortstop, and Barber is the third baseman, Johnson the second baseman, Gabbard at first, Terranova the catcher. And there is the strikeout that ends the first inning. But again, Main-Presque getting 3 runs in the top of the first inning. Knights are coming to bat, and the Owls have an early 3-0 lead here at Southern Virginia. Along with Seth Hansen, a rare Friday morning doubleheader. We will have the first game of this doubleheader against Main-Presque for you. We will not webcast game number 2. The Knights trailing here in game number 1 as they come to hit for the first time. 1-0 or 3-0. Main-Presque on top. They scored 3 in the top of the first inning. Heather Terranova, the catcher, leading things off for the Knights, facing Sarah Packer, the starting right-handed pitcher for the Owls of Main-Presque. The first pitch is inside. We were talking about the defense for the Knights. They've got Maddie Rigby in center field when they come back onto the field with the left fielder Tara Hilton, and the right fielder is Katie Rose Helms. And the Knights have really been shifting things around in the outfield at times, Seth. Katie Rose Helms began the year as the center fielder. We've seen Tara Hilton out there, and today Maddie Rigby, who started the season at third base, is now the center fielder, at least for this first game of the doubleheader tonight.
Yeah, is that ball is high? Oh, calling a strike there, high strike.
That was really high.
Yeah. Was pretty high, but going back, it was a slow start to the season, losing their first 6 games of the year, so Coach Pendleton deciding to switch some things up, and it's been working. They've definitely had some more success in recent games.
Yeah, Knights come in 6-8 on the season, facing a Main-Presque team that is 2-2 on the season, so the Knights have played 14 games. Main-Presque just 4 games. They had 4 games scheduled this week, I believe, against Mary Bald and Sweetbriar. That got wiped out. Of course, this game against the Knights, there's a called strike, was scheduled initially for Tuesday, then got switched to Thursday, and then pushed over to Friday morning, starting obviously at 11 o'clock this morning. So this game has really been pushed all over the map this week, but the Knights were able to get this doubleheader in.
Yep, that unpredictable Virginia weather, as we all know and love, and moved it back to Friday. But hey, it's a beautiful day out here today, a little chilly, but the sun is shining, and a great day for some softball.
And that one's fouled off. I didn't mind the snow at all on Monday. I figure any snow you can drive on, and I think we only had 1 or 2 inches, and there were times they were calling 7 to 8 inches. So
right.
Didn't mind it at all, but it was probably unusual to see lacrosse on Monday in the snow.
Yeah, it was certainly fun calling some women's lacrosse. Southern Virginia University women's lacrosse team. Oh, as that ball's ripped.
Foul down the left field line.
But foul, but big win for the women's lacrosse team against Concordia. They made that trip all the way from Michigan. But
I saw they won yesterday in Hilton Head. Did not see what happened on Wednesday, but going from snow on Monday to Hilton Head, South Carolina on Wednesday and Thursday isn't too bad for the women.
Yeah, if you're going to spend spring break, South Carolina is not a bad place to be.
Terranova hits it foul again.
Terra Nova comes in today really carrying the team offensively with a .423 batting average. She's got 11 RBIs. So no surprise to see her hitting at the top of the order. And you're seeing it right here. She's not an easy out by any means. She fouls things off a lot and just waits for her pitch.
And Megan Harmon is on deck. That pitch is hit towards shortstop. And calling for the ball is the shortstop, Alyssa Edwards, and she has the first out of the inning. Now coming to the plate will be the pitcher, Megan Harmon, to be followed by the center fielder, Maddie Rigby. The Knights, again, playing Main-Presque today in a doubleheader. We'll have the first game for you, not the second game. They play at Mary Baldwin on Tuesday. Next Friday, they play at Roanoke, and then a week from Tuesday, they host Ferrum College. Until finally, 2 weeks from tomorrow, they get play started in the Capital Conference against Penn State Harrisburg on the road. So a few more non-conference doubleheaders, and then finally it's time for Capital Athletic Conference play. And I know, talking with the head coach, Tiffany Pendleton, before the season, she was really eager this season not just to get the first conference win in softball history here at Southern Virginia, but several conference victories if possible.
Yes, she certainly feels good about her squad. We know how tough, like in most sports, the Capital Athletic Conference is the cream of the crop, and you have to earn everything. So I know Coach Pendleton's really excited about the opportunity this season.
Megan Harmon swings and misses and fouls it off. So women's softball looking for their first Capital Athletic Conference victory, and women's lacrosse also still seeking its first victory in the Capital Athletic Conference. And men's lacrosse will be in action coming up tomorrow, Saturday at 1 o'clock, taking on Cazenovia. That'll be non-conference for the men's lacrosse team, who were able to go on the road, I believe, to Hendricks and get a big victory to snap a losing streak.
Yeah, the men were stumbling a little bit. Good to see them get on track, and they need some momentum as they get ready to go into Capital Athletic Conference play. They've already had at least one game there. You see fouled off there by Megan Harmon. But I know Coach Lamb is, lacrosse really is a game of momentum. So anything they can do to, clean some stuff up, clean up the mistakes, and feel confident going into that play.
And the volleyball scheduled for tonight at 5 o'clock as the Knights will be taking on Messiah. We will not be webcasting that, but it's a chance for the men's volleyball team to pick up a big non-conference win against Messiah today, as Megan Harmon fouls it back.
These first two batters here, Terra Nova and now Megan Harmon, just looks like they're having trouble picking up the ball a little bit. Just their timing is off. Not uncommon for, the first time through seeing a pitcher you're not familiar with. So see if she can make the adjustment here. I expect the next time through the lineup, though, Terra Nova and Megan Harmon will have it more dialed in.
Harmon would love to get on base and get something started. Again, we talked about some shoddy defense, obviously, by the Knights with 3 errors in the top of the first inning, but a lot of fluke hits by Main-Presque that resulted in 3 runs, with also 3 runners left on base. It took 2 strikeouts by Megan Harmon with bases loaded, 1 out to get out of the jam as Harmon cranks that ball to left center, and it's caught by the center fielder. Nice running catch by Marissa. Looks like a Fragile, and she made the catch in center field. A good running catch, calling off the left fielder at the last second for the putout. That's number 2 as far as the outs are concerned, but Megan Harmon that time gave it a ride.
Yeah, she just missed that one there. Got under it a little bit. Again, that's one of those things, like we mentioned, next time through she may have it more dialed in. But a nice play, like you mentioned, by the center fielder.
Yes, Maddie Rigby, the next hitter, fouls that one off. I was saying the Knights, with those fluke hits and the bad defense in the first inning, giving up those 3 runs, it would have really kind of stemmed the momentum just a little bit, I think. Set just to pick up a run here for the Knights in the bottom of the first inning, but the first 2 batters have not been able to get on base, and now Rigby has to get a rally started with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. And that pitch is high.
Yeah, they really need Rigby to come through right here. She comes in hitting .325, which is, nothing to turn your nose up at. Very good. 13 hits on the year. So definitely capable here. That's why she's hitting in the 3 spot, trying to get on base and make something happen.
Tara Hilton is the on-deck hitter. And Rigby strikes out, or picks up the second strike, make that. 2 strikes on Rigby now, 2 outs. Nobody on base here with the Knights again trailing 3-0. It's Main-Presque. Knights are hoping to win the first game and then take the second game to even their record for the season at 8-8. They came at 6-8 on the season. That pitch is high. Knights had been able to win 6 of their last 8 games, as you mentioned, Seth, after starting the season 0-6. So let's see if Rigby can get on base here with 2 outs and 2 strikes on her. That pitch is away.
Good patience by Rigby. Sometimes it's easy to be up there, and with 2 strikes, you feel this need. You got to protect. You don't want to strike out, but she's showing some good patience and good discipline eye.
Pitch is hit to the outfield and deep down the left field line. It's going to be out of play. So Rigby still with those 2 strikes on her.
That was a good swing there by Rigby. Just out in front of it a little bit, but she squared it up pretty good.
And we do have some wind blowing today, so you can see if you can get that ball up in the air, it's going to carry and might carry over the fence for a homer.
Yeah, put a little backspin on it. May find its way over the fence.
That pitch is high, and she draws a walk, so Hilton comes to the plate with Rigby on first, 2 outs. Down by 3 runs, I don't think the Knights would steal. They really haven't been running as a team that much, trying to steal bases here in February and March.
And that was, again, it's just going back to Rigby's discipline. You saw her load up and kind of take that step like she wanted to rip it, but good discipline, hold herself back, and got the walk to get on with 2 outs here.
Bethany Hudson is the on-deck hitter. That pitch is high. Hudson, the shortstop. Again, earlier in the season, she had been hitting 8th and 9th in the lineup. Today, hitting 5th.
Another adjustment by Coach Pendleton. Tara Hilton right now up to bat, hitting .349 on the season, so definitely some high averages for a team already 14 games in. That ball's thrown down to first. So Tara Hilton last season was she mainly did the leadoff duties. Was a real consistent hitter. We saw her hit an inside the park home run here, Jim. I remember out to right field right where we were sitting. So a lot of big things from Tara Hilton right now.
She was last year, I think, their top stolen base threat. Not sure that she has stolen a base here so far in the 2018 season, but without question, she's one of the faster players on the team, along with Katie Rose Helms and a few others. Hilton trying to deliver a hit, swings and misses. Of course, Melanie Payton, I would imagine, will start game number 2. Again, we will not webcast the second game for you. Melanie Payton, generally in doubleheaders, has been pitching the second game, and Megan Harmon the first. Hilton cranks it out to right field, and it is caught for the 3rd out of the inning by the right fielder. And that will finish things off here for the Knights. They get a base runner, and that's all. No runs for the Knights in the first inning. We'll go to the second inning. It is Main-Presque on top here, 3-0.
Alyssa Edwards.
Alyssa Edwards will start things off for Main-Presque here in the top of the second inning. They hit around in the first inning, picked up 3 runs, left 3 runners on base, and had the 3 outs, obviously. So they're ready to go to the top of the order here, just in the top of the second inning, hitting around in the first inning with 3 runs, and again, 3 runners left on base. So kind of a half-empty, half-full thing for the Knights. They were pleased to get out of a bases-loaded jam, but obviously not pleased with all the errors and the 3 runs allowed to Main-Presque on the top of the first inning.
You see the count now is 1-1. That first pitch, Megan hit that outside corner. She really needs the umpire to be calling that a strike for her. That's a big part of her game when she's on the mound. Check swing, held up, called a ball, but a lot of what she likes to do, she likes to keep it away, and when the ump squeezes that strike zone a little bit, it makes it tough on her.
And the last thing the Knights could afford right now, down 3-0, is to give up more runs, Seth, here in the second inning.
Yeah, they need a clean inning here.
There's a called strike. Again, Main-Presque getting those 3 runs in the top of the first, never got the ball out of the outfield, but they had amazing placement, either totally by accident or, I guess in some cases, by design as to where they put the ball.
Yeah, you could argue Southern Virginia hit the ball better in that first inning.
There's a called strike.
That outside pitch, exactly what Megan was hoping for. But yeah, you know, Southern Virginia, at least they had a few all 3 outs were fly balls. But just couldn't find, you know, we're hitting them right to the outfielders. So definitely a lot of softball left to play, and Main-Presque isn't going to be able to win this game on just bunt singles, so we'll see what happens.
And Marissa Regal, the center fielder, now comes to the plate. Well, Megan Harmon, I believe now 3 strikeouts so far in this game. Megan trying to go to work and delivers that pitch way over the head of Tiranova, the catcher. Mentioned that men's volleyball will play today against Messiah at 5 o'clock. Men's lacrosse coming up tomorrow against Cazenovia in non-conference action Saturday at 1 o'clock. We will not be webcasting volleyball. We will webcast men's lacrosse for you on Saturday. Women's lacrosse was at Hilton Head on Wednesday and Thursday. And men's baseball is trying to get its games in, too. They had recent efforts against Canton out of New York last weekend, Seth, and I believe next Wednesday they host Mary Washington on March the 21st, of course, with baseball and softball especially. You got to dodge not just the snow as we saw on Monday, but the rain showers in March and April.
Yeah, you certainly are going to have to watch out for that, especially at this time of year. Another strike.
Not so much playing in the rain, I guess, is just the field conditions.
Certainly.
So Megan Harmon has allowed 3 runs, most likely unearned runs, and she has been able to pick up 3 strikeouts to keep her team in this game, and that pitch is punched foul. The Knights come up to hit in the second inning. They'll go basically with the bottom of the order. Knights were not able to score in the top of in the bottom of the first inning. Harmon's got 3 strikeouts already, looking for number 4. That pitch is low for a walk. I think Main-Presque had a few walks also in that first inning. And new to center field, you just kind of walk that ball in to make sure that the runner doesn't try to go from third to home, but that at the same time, you prevent the runner from first, the hitter, going all the way to second base. So now it's second and third, still 1 out. Now 5-0.
And that's the first real hit, you know, Megan has given up in this game. And even then, I mean, it was a little flare job. It wasn't really struck all that well. So this is it's going to test this team a lot. You're going to find a lot out about this team today, see what kind of fight and grit they have in them to try and dig themselves out of this hole.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind to describe Main-Presque so far here in the first 2 innings, opportunistic.
Yeah, certainly taking the extra bags. You just got to be on your toes. Main-Presque is a real smart team, and you mentioned, Jim, real opportunistic team.
And Megan Harmon trying to work out of another jam here in the second inning, and now she's losing her control a little bit. Second and third, again, only 1 out. Knights gave up 3 runs in the first inning. They've given up 2 so far to the Owls here in the top of the second. That pitch is a called strike for the strikeout. So 2 outs. Harmon getting a big strikeout there. And she is trying to work out of any further damage by getting this hitter, trying to maintain a 5-run deficit. If Main-Presque was able to get a hit here into the outfield, it could easily be 7-0. Nice. There's a call strike.
Nice pitch by Megan right there. I think she's going to keep trying to work the outside too. If the umpire will keep calling it, which he's kind of been hit or miss on that outside corner, but if she can get that call, she really could get out of this inning.
Another called strike, that one on the inside corner. So Harmon is a strike away. She's been able to pick up some strikeouts here in the first couple of innings, but again, the defense has been kind of poor behind her, and as a result, the Knights trail 5-0. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Megan Harmon. We go to the bottom of the second. The Knights now trailing 5-0. Welcome back to Harvey Dryden Field at Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Seth Hansen, bringing you all the action of the first game of this doubleheader between Southern Virginia University and Main-Presque. Again, we will not webcast game number 2, and it's been a rough game number 1 for the Knights. They gave up 3 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second, multiple errors on the defense. Main-Presque's got 5 runs on the board. They've also got 5 runners left on base in the first 2 innings, so it's 5-0 Owls, but it could easily be 8-9 Main-Presque.
It could be. It also could be a 0-0 game if we want to talk at the defense. Megan Harmon really has pitched pretty well, but the defense just hasn't really picked her up the way they've needed to. So looking to get back and chip away at this lead here.
Bethany Hudson leads it off with a pop to right field, and it's the first out of the inning. So the Knights, unlike Main-Presque, getting the ball to the outfield, just making outs. Main-Presque, for the most part, putting the ball on the infield and getting some gifts as well as some base hits.
Yeah, they're seeing the ball well. They're just hitting it right to the outfielders. So not going Southern Virginia's way at the moment.
Now Molly Gabbert will be the hitter. And Main-Presque's outfielder is really backing up for Gabbert, who's had good power in the past, just not this season. That ball hit the shortstop. And quickly, 2 outs.
2 pitches, 2 outs. For
good defense by the Owls here in the first couple of innings for Main-Presque. And it'll be Michaela Johnson coming to the plate. Michaela's hit the ball pretty well this season.
Yeah, Michaela coming in, hitting .296. She's got 4 RBIs and really could use a 2-out knock here, right, just to get some momentum going. They still don't have a hit in this game. They had the walk in the first inning, but got to find something to give them some momentum.
Pitch is hit to second base, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Packer, the starting pitcher for Main-Presque. We'll go to the 3rd inning. It is Owls on top of the Knights, 5-0. Well, ready to go, top of the 3rd inning with the Main-Presque Owls on top of Southern Virginia 5-0 after 2 innings. Knights have lots of errors, and they're still looking for their first base hit of the contest. And Megan Harmon, the only positive she can really say is that she's got several strikeouts and has been able to work out of jams, leaving 5 total Owls stranded on base in the first 2 innings, Seth. But the defense has really been poor behind her. And now the Knights just have to really kind of right the ship a little bit, make sure that Main-Presque does not score here in the top of the 3rd inning, and try to find a way to get that offense going in the bottom of the 3rd.
Yeah, so Megan's only given up 3 hits in this game. They've got 5 runs due to 5 errors by the defense. So really she's pitching well, and those 3 hits, 2 of them were bunts. One of them was a little flare job that landed in the infield but rolled to the outfield. So yeah, she's got it dialed in. I don't know, as you mentioned, if it's the weather, if it's a little chilly, it's in the morning, maybe just having trouble getting going. But for the defense here, but they have an opportunity to pick her up and hopefully a quick inning so they can try and chip away at this lead.
You know, and the 5 errors you talked about not only tells part of the story, because I don't think they would have errors for situations where the Knights just have had defensive lapses that allowed Main-Presque to take extra bases.
Right.
And that has been another problem. And maybe, again, you just have to tip your hat to the Owls, because whenever they see the Knights sleeping in the slightest sense, they take the extra base.
They're going to test them, and I mean, why not? The defense hasn't been great this game. You're going to try and force them to make plays.
And that's been key, too. When you really don't have an offense that's hitting the ball to the outfield, having an extra base, putting people into scoring position, that's huge.
Yeah, it makes all the difference for them.
And Megan Harmon, that first pitch of the 3rd inning, is way high. Almost looked like they had a little huddle before this third inning started. Maybe the defense encouraging Megan that they're going to get their act together here in the third inning. Pitch is grounded into center field. That ball is fielded by Rigby and fields it cleanly. That's the first true hit to the outfield the Owls have had here today, and they've got a runner on at first to start the third inning.
Yeah, it was good contact right through the middle of the infield. Good hustle by Rigby, though, and a good strong throw to second to hold that runner at first. We just talked about how the Owls are constantly looking to take an extra base, but Rigby prevented that. So just a runner on first, and the Knights just need to focus on one out at a time here.
So a runner at first base for the Owls to start the third inning.
Now batting number 10, Jackie Pierce.
And Main-Presque with nobody gone at the top of the third, trying to add to a 5-run lead. Main-Presque has been able to show good speed on the base pass. Another bunt attempt, and that one's foul. Nicole Mariucci is the runner at first after she delivered a single to center field. Bunt attempt. That one's fouled down the third base line. Jackie Pierce, the hitter. Again, Main-Presque just 2-2 on the season. They had 4 games wiped out by the weather this week against Mary Baldwin and Sweetbriar. They've only had 4 games. The Knights have 14. That ball hit to the outfield to left field. It is caught by the left fielder for the Knights. Making the catch, Tara Hilton. That's the first out of the third inning with the runner still at first base.
And that's kind of feels like best case scenario for the Knights right now. Their problem has been balls on the ground and fielding cleanly. So I imagine anything up in the air is going to be somewhat of a sigh of relief. If someone can get to it, I'm sure they feel more comfortable with that right now.
It's been strange, too. The Knights has another bunt attempt. Gabbert throwing down. They get the runner at first this time. And the other runner moves over to second, so the hitter is out on the bunt attempt. And now a runner at second base with 2 outs. And I was going to say, before this game, the defense, especially up the middle with Michaela Johnson at second and Hudson at short, has been very, very good. Yeah, but not today.
No, it hasn't been great. But that was a real nice play there by Gabbert to hustle down and pick that ball up. And, of course, Michaela Johnson getting over to cover first. And this would be a different story if the Knights have been able to do that all game, but maybe they've got it, where they need to now and feel confident in making those plays.
Megan Harmon trying to get out of the third inning without allowing a run after giving up 5 in the first 2 innings. Again, we will not webcast game number 2 of this doubleheader for you. We will webcast tomorrow men's lacrosse against Cazenovia Saturday at 1 o'clock. From Knight Stadium. That pitch is low. Main-Presque got 3 in the first and left 3 on base. Got 2 in the second and left 2 on base. That pitch is low. It's a wild pitch. Runner will move over to third. Runner at third, 2 gone for Main-Presque here in the top of the third inning.
It's a lot easier said than done, but Terranova, the catcher there, she really needs to stay down. She keeps popping up pretty early, trying to pick that ball instead of kind of getting herself in front of the ball and block it like you're taught as a catcher. Again, a lot easier said than done, but that's how that ball squeezed by there.
See if Megan Harmon can get that third out and not allow the Owls to score. There's a called strike. Wind is starting to really pick up here in game number 1 of this doubleheader. Has been a windy March, and it always seems the wind really starts to pick up here on top of the mountain anyway. There is a strikeout for Megan Harmon, so the Knights finally get out of an inning without allowing a run. A blank Main-Presque in the third inning will go to the bottom of the third with the Owls on top 5-0. Well, the Knights are coming to bat here in the bottom of the third inning with Main-Presque leading 5-0. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Seth Hansen. Knights looking to get that offense going, trying to find a way to catch up here in the bottom of the third inning. Seth down by 5 runs.
And they're certainly being aggressive, trying to chip away at that lead. We saw last inning, 3 pitches, 3 outs, but it was like 3 fly balls. So they're seeing the ball, they're able to hit it, just haven't squared it up exactly right.
Caitlin Barber is going to lead things off here in the bottom of the third. Knights still looking, though, for their first base hit.
Caitlin Barber coming in. She's only got 8 hits on the year, but she's got a .308 batting average, so taking advantage of her few at-bats she's taken.
And she's really been picking up not only her batting, but her amount of playing time. As we mentioned, Rigby started the season at third base, and in the last 4 or 5 games, it's been Barber, the third baseman, showing signs that she's going to take over maybe as the everyday third baseman, and swings and misses at that pitch.
Yeah, it is a good sign, especially she's a freshman. I know Coach Pendleton, she'd like to get some of these young people, some young players, some playing time, some experience, so that that's what it takes to win in the Capital Athletic Conference. People with the experience who you can count on.
Yeah, the entire left side of the defense, third base Barber, shortstop Hudson, both freshmen.
The Knights only with 2 seniors on this team. That'd be Molly Gabbert and Katie Rose Helms. So Coach Pendleton really, again, just needs some of that leadership that it takes to have in any sport. You've got to have that experience and that leadership to help bring along these younger players. So
hard to believe senior day is only about a month away. I mean, it's a very quick spring season.
Time has flown as that was high and outside, thankfully. I thought the umpire was going to call that a strike, but thankfully for Caitlin Barber, she's still hanging in there.
Trying to get the Knights' first hit with Helms on deck, and that pitch is grounded to third. What a stop by the third baseman. Fires over and makes the play. Main-Presque doing the job defensively, as the Knights have, again, had several errors, but Main-Presque is playing just sterling defense, and that was a heck of a play at third base.
Yeah, it really was. She went down and got dirty in the dirt there to make that stop, and as much as the stop was getting up and making that quick, accurate throw to beat the runner, it was real impressive all the way around.
So Katie Rose Helms, basically a slap hitter from the left side, will come to the plate. Main-Presque really going to pull in the infield. We saw last year at times the outfield would basically be almost at the edge of the infield, outfield grass and dirt.
Just trying to use Katie Rose's speed. As you mentioned, one of the faster players, might be the fastest player on this Knights team. Anything she can get in play is a plus for the Knights.
Sometimes they'll slap the ball to left field or attempt to go down the third base line. Sometimes bunting, and bunts that one foul. Of course, as we saw earlier in the season, haven't seen it too much the last few games, but the Knights and the other team too, the opposing team, have had problems, especially if they're left-handed hitters trying to drag bunt and get down the first base line. You cannot leave the batter's box until the ball hits the bat. So you got a lot of lefties who are trying to drag bunts, and they end up getting their foot out of the batter's box before the ball hits the bat, Seth. And when they've actually had good bunts, they've been called out.
Yeah, it's a timing thing for sure, and it takes a lot of practice. So you got to be sure and know what you're doing if you're going to attempt that type of play.
Knights losing here 5-0 in the third inning. Helms with another bunt attempt. That one's a good bunt, and she's safe. Katie Rose Helms with the bunt single. Fantastic bunt by Helms, and she is on first base. Here comes Heather Terranova, top of the order, with Helms at first, and 1 gone for the Knights, and they actually have their first base hit of the game.
So the way Coach Pendleton has the lineup set up is really smart because, Terranova has the best bat on the team right now. You have Katie Helms bat at last.
She puts it down to shortstop. It's bobbled, an error going to be on the – Helms will go over to third base. Good effort by Helms to take the extra base, and for a change, it's an error on the Owls. That could have easily been a double play ball. The shortstop coming over, Seth, had the chance to actually grab the ball and either maybe step on the bag herself and fire to first, or just flip the ball at least for the force out. And as a result of the error, the Knights have first and third with 1 out.
Certainly, and that's what you want. If you can get Katie Rose on base at the bottom of the lineup, then you have Heather Terranova, who is such a strong hitter for this team. You have so much speed on the base in front of Terra Nova. It's a really good thing. You saw it right there with Katie Rose able to take that extra bag when the ball was bobbled at second.
I'll tell you, that ball was hit so hard. I got this picture of the shortstop grabbing the ball in one hop, stepping on second, and firing to first for a double play, which obviously the Knights could not afford.
Certainly needed that ball to be bobbled, and they got some luck here finally. Now they're trying to find their first run.
First and third, one out, and Megan Harmon, the hitter, trying to get a big hit to help herself from a pitching standpoint. As the Knights trail 5-0 here in the bottom of the third inning. There's a called strike. Terra Nova, not really a threat to steal, being a catcher. Helms has good speed over at third, but with one out, the Knights need to make sure they don't have any mistakes on the base pass. They need a big hit here from Megan Harmon. Fouled off on a high pitch.
And Megan can just do what she did the last time she got up. She popped that one out into left field. If she can get anything in the air on the edge, I imagine Coach will send Katie Rose again with that speed.
Knights down by 5, though. Really could use a base hit. They just really want to get on the scoreboard right now. Hit to left field for a hit. 5-1. Helm scores. Terra Nova stops at second base. It is 5-1. Knights now down by 4. And still only one out. Maddie Rigby will come to the plate as the Knights are trying to put together a rally to scratch back into this game after being down by 5 to start the bottom of the third inning.
That was a real strong hit by Megan Harmon, who we know, of course, is on the mound trying to do her job defensively. A nice line drive through the infield. Shortstop made a diving attempt, but just too strong, too much solid contact by Megan Harmon, which is great to see.
Rigby the hitter, Hilton on deck. And now the Knights have a couple of hits here put together. They are trying to put together a rally. They'd love to come back here in the third inning to either tie the game or take the lead. They've got first and second, and still only one out. And that pitch is high. If Rigby could draw a walk even, it would be bases loaded, one out with Hilton coming to the plate.
Hilton's a contact hitter for sure. She's good at putting the bat on the ball, so good things coming as long as they can stay out of a double play here at the very least, get Hilton up, and maybe she'll be able to do some magic.
Rigby takes another pitch high. Now Packard, the opposing pitcher, the Main-Presque pitcher, with some bad defense behind her here in the third inning. She's starting to maybe get a little rattled, lose her control. She is 3-0 on Rigby. And high ball 4, bases are loaded. You remember this inning started with a fantastic play defensively for Main-Presque at third base on Caitlin Barber. And Helms got things started with a sack, with a bunt for a single, and then Main-Presque's defense has let him down, and suddenly it's bases loaded, one out. And here comes Hilton. Tara Hilton looking for a big hit. Good speed at the base pass for the most part, with Harmon at second base, and Packard again wild on that pitch.
I imagine Coach Pendleton's gonna have Hilton taken. I would have Hilton take until they throw a strike, as she's had trouble finding the zone these last couple batters.
Hudson's the on deck hitter, then Gabbert. Knights down by 4. Looking for a big hit. That pitch fouled back.
Big swing by Hilton. But the other thing that's nice about having Hilton up in this situation is if there is a ground ball hit to the shortstop or even to second base, a double play is going to be real hard to turn at first again because Hilton is so fast and quick out of the box.
I would think Terra Nova being the slowest of the 3 base runners, they would come home with the ball just for the force out. We'll see. That pitch is popped up, and it's going to be out of play. So Hilton's got a couple of strikes on her now. And Packard seemingly has got her control going here in the last couple of pitches. We'll see what this battle shapes up to be against Hilton and Packard, with bases loaded, one out, and the Knights trailing 5-1. Knights hoping for a big hit here from Hilton. Packard, she'd love to get the strikeout. Inside. No place to put Hilton for Main-Presque. Knights hoping for a big hit, maybe an extra base hit. They'll take the walk to make it 5-2 if possible. And Hilton drives it to the outfield, to left field. It's caught. Terra Nova will be able to tag up. And the other runners will hold. It's 5-2.
Man, and that was exactly what the Knights needed. Oh, as the ball's got loose here,
yep.
Harmon's going to go home.
Harmon's going to try to score, and she is going to be out as she falls down and is tagged down for the third out. So instead of second and third and 2 outs, Seth, base running mistake by Megan Harmon. It ends up being the third out of the inning. The Knights do score 2, but they would have had second and third with 2 outs.
Yeah, and after that play, Coach Pendleton, who's the third base coach at the time, you saw her point to herself because she was waving Harmon in, and Harmon was just following her direction. Yep. So understanding trying to be aggressive, trying to make a comeback here, but, man, that would have been nice to be second and third with 2 outs.
But the Knights do score 2 runs, and we will go to the 4th inning. It is Main-Presque 5 and the Knights 2. Well, credit the Knights getting that offense going in the bottom of the 3rd inning. They scored 2 runs to make it 5-2. They would have had second and third with 2 outs, and a base running mistake by the Knights allows for the 3rd out. Still, you got to be encouraged by the Knights, the way their defense is starting to come together, hopefully, and the offense is starting to pick it up with 2 runs in the 3rd inning, and Megan Harmon has pitched tremendous ball when she's been able to really achieve the strikeout. She's really thrown the ball very well today. In this first game of the doubleheader, was able to stop Main-Presque in the top of the 3rd set without allowing a run.
Yeah, she's pitched pretty well, pretty consistent this whole game. Just the defense is what hasn't been as consistent, but yeah, it was an exciting last inning. They finally, they were still driving the ball well as they've done this whole game, but finally the ball started to drop and find some holes to give them 2 runs, make this only a 3-run lead for Main-Presque.
And Megan Harmon strike away now from racking up another strikeout. So if the Knights can find a way to get the offense they got in the 3rd the rest of the way home, we could really have a good ball game here. The Knights could make the comeback from a 5-0 deficit. Right now, they trail 5-2 in the top of the 4th inning.
And even with that, the way that last inning ended with Harmon being tagged out at home, you got to feel, though, the momentum is still in the Knights' favor. They're just looking to build upon it now. And
obviously, Seth just cannot allow any runs, especially here in the 4th inning. They've got to really, at this point, keep Main-Presque off the board. The Owls obviously thinking the exact opposite, that if they can score another run or 2, they can get those runs right back.
Yeah, if there was ever a need for a quick inning, it would be this one. Their bats are hot, and you want to get back up to the plate as soon as you can.
And that ball popped over to 3rd. Barber right there for the putout. Caitlin Barber making the grab. Out number 1 of the 4th inning. So Megan Harmon, who was able to blank Main-Presque in the 3rd inning, she's looking for a 1-2-3 inning if possible here in the 4th.
The big swing right there, looking to really drive that ball. Thankfully for Harmon, she wasn't able to connect.
The hitter's the cleanup hitter in Melanie Cherry. She's a freshman for Main-Presque. She's the big first baseman for the Owls. Takes that pitch low. Knights trail here in the 4th inning, and that pitch is driven into the outfield for a base hit. Rigby will throw it back in.
Just out of the reach there of Bethany Hudson. Looked like she might have had a play off the crack of the bat. I thought she was going to get there, but But it was a clean, solid base hit into the outfield.
And so the Owls have a runner at first with 1 out. Knights still have not been able to get that 1-2-3 inning defensively. Harmon, though, is trying to get her second straight inning without allowing a run. Attempted a bunt. That's a called strike. Wind is really starting to pick up.
You noticed too, huh?
Oh, no question. Just seems we've done several softball games now here in February and March, and it just seems every game it's windy, and I don't know. They say 45 degrees. When it was that windy, it's probably feeling like 30.
Yeah, there's no way that's 45 degrees. These girls, though, they're playing strong, still out here, even in the wind, despite the temperature, still playing the game they love. So hats off to them for sure. Is Megan Harmon looking to do some work here, trying to get the second out.
And that pitch is hit to second base. Michaela Johnson bobbles and can never pick it up. And the other runner, Terry, is going to motor on over to third base. So Michaela Johnson is now struggling with her defense, and she's been rock solid defensively this season for the Knights. But that time, bobbled the ball, had a chance. If she picks it up cleanly to get the runner at second base, and even if she bobbled the first time, she had a chance to pick it up and get the runner at first, and then wound up bobbling it a third time, which allowed the runner at second to go to third.
Yeah, I thought for a second there, I thought she was still going to be able to get that out at first. It looked like she had plenty of time. I don't know if she was thinking double play in her head, and that made her kind of whiff on the initial ground ball, but either way, another error there, and now you got runners first and third.
And again, only 1 out here for Main-Presque Isle here in the top of the 4th inning. It is 5-2. Knights trailing by 3. Main-Presque Isle, after the Knights' error, trying to score another run. Bunt, good bunt, rolls foul. Luckily for the Knights, because if that ball hangs out in front of home plate and maybe rolls a few feet further away, runner at third most likely is going to score, and that's probably going to be a base hit.
Again, with the defensive struggles Southern Virginia's had here, it doesn't surprise me Main-Presque Isle is going to try and bunt and force the Knights to make a good play again, a good throw.
That pitch is low. It gets away from Terranova. Wild pitch, going to score a run. Runner at first moves down to second. It is 6-2 Main-Presque Isle. So that's a big run after the Knights had scored 2 in the third. Still just 1 out. Runner at second base now for the Owls. A run in for Main-Presque Isle. Another bunt. Right back to Harmon. Throws over. Makes the play at first for the second out. Now a runner at third. 2 outs. Knights just have to get this third out and go back to work offensively in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Good athletic play by Harmon right there to make the pitch, field it cleanly, and then make a quick snap throw as she did to beat the runner in time. So real good play there.
See if the Knights can strand this Main-Presque Isle runner at third and keep this a 4-run lead for Main-Presque Isle and not make it a 5-run lead again. This is another occasion, Seth, with 2 outs. This last thing you want here is what we just saw a second ago, a wild pitch.
Yeah, you got that runner on third. Need to keep that runner there.
2 outs, runner at third. It's 6-2. Owls on top of the Knights here in the top of the 4th inning.
Big swing and a miss there. Interesting right now, they've got Kitty Rose Holmes looks like she's guarding the line pretty good. There's a big gap here in right center.
Huge gap.
Hoping that doesn't come into play for the Knights.
Swung on, missed. Good fastball there by Megan Harmon, who's trying to lock down the 3rd out of the 4th inning. And the Knights came in 6-8 on the season. They were hoping to get a doubleheader sweep today, which would get them to the 500 mark. But Main-Presque Isle is trying to get their 3rd win of the season. And there's a strikeout for Megan Harmon. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. It is now Main-Presque Isle 6 and Southern Virginia 2.
In the top of the 4th, there was 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error in the field, and 1 runner left on base.
Well, Main-Presque got a run in the top of the fourth inning as the Knights had closed a 5-0 deficit down to 5-2, but now it's 6-2 as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. The Knights were able to score 2, Seth, in the bottom of the third, so they're hoping to get that offense going again here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Yeah, looking to get on track here. Bethany Hudson, if she can get on base for Molly Gabbard, that would be real big for this inning.
Packard, the right-handed pitcher, the starting pitcher, still out there throwing for the Main-Presque Owls. Melanie Payton likely to start a second game for the Knights of this doubleheader. Again, we're only webcasting the first game. That pitch hit to the outfield and deep, and will it stay fair? And it is going to be a home run.
Wow.
Hudson hits that ball well down the left field line. The only question was, we knew it was going to go over the fence. It was just a matter of whether it was going to stay fair, and Hudson hits a homer to make it 6-3.
Wow, she gave that thing a ride, too. That trajectory of the ball, I think it might have got helped out a little bit. It looked like a wall scraper, but stayed fair, thankfully. And
well, maybe it's also good the wind was blowing, because not only did it put it over the fence, which it might have gone over anyway, but it got there quick, so it didn't hang up in the wind too much to be pushed to the left side of the foul line.
Certainly. And everyone's reaction out here, everyone saw it go over, and then everyone looked back to the umpire to see what he was going to rule. So big break for the Knights there. Now only a 3-run lead for the Owls.
And we talked about it. With this wind, you get the ball up in the air, and it's going to go over the fence. And Bethany Hudson, the freshman shortstop, cranking it over the left field fence for the home run to make it 6-3. So just like that, to begin the fourth inning, the Knights have that run back. Well, Molly Gabbard is the hitter. She'd love to go yard two, and if not that, get on base to get a rally started as the Knights suddenly back within 3 runs again here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Michaela Johnson's on deck, then Caitlin Barber and Katie Rose Helms, and then the top of the order. There's a called strike. Packard, the right-handed pitcher, trying to bounce back after surrendering a home run ball to Bethany Hudson. And Gabbard drills it up the middle. Great play by the shortstop for Main-Presque, and they get another sterling defensive play for the first out of the fourth inning.
Yeah, you get a feel for Gabbard there because she squared that ball up pretty good, but just a phenomenal play by the shortstop to get the out.
Yeah, Main-Presque had a good play right there at shortstop earlier. Good play at third base. They've had an error or two, but they've had some excellent defensive plays. So there's one gone. Nobody on base here for the Knights. Home run already by Bethany Hudson. Michaela Johnson is the hitter. Trying to get something started now with 1 out. Knights trailing here in the bottom of the fourth inning, 6-3. And Johnson hits it up into the air. Center fielder coming on and makes the grab for Main-Presque as Regal had to hurry, and she was able to make a nice play almost on the infield dirt, and that's the second out. And now coming to hit for the Knights will be the third baseman, Caitlin Barber, with 2 outs and nobody on base.
That was one of those where the wind really made it tough. That ball kind of changed trajectory up there, and but a good play by the center fielder.
Helms is on deck. 2 outs in the inning now, to called strike on Barber. Nobody on base. Knights have a run home on Hudson's homer, but they still trail by 3 runs as we are in the bottom of the fourth inning. Swung on and missed by Barber. Now she's got 2 strikes on her.
Big swing by Barber. Trying to do what Hudson did earlier in this inning, but just too slow on that swing.
Trying to get on base to give Helms a chance, and Barber takes that one away. Packer trying to get the third out of the fourth inning. Called strike 3 on Barber. Knights get a Bethany Hudson homer, and they trail by 3 as we go to the fifth inning with the score: Main-Presque 6 and Southern Virginia 3. We are ready to go. Top of the fifth inning. Main-Presque 6, Southern Virginia 3. Main-Presque got 3 runs in their first inning, 2 in the second inning. They got a run last inning. The Knights have 3 on the board so far. And as we start the fifth inning, Megan Harmon is trying to get certainly an inning where she doesn't allow a run like she got in the third inning. And she'd love to get a 1-2-3 inning as the Knights are trying to make sure Main-Presque doesn't score any more runs, and the Knights would then give their offense a chance to try to rally from a 3-run deficit, because there's only 3 more chances for the offense in the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings.
Yeah, Megan Harmon really needing her first 1-2-3 inning right here and right now so they can get back up to bat, but she's going to need the help of her defense.
And Harmon right now trying to make sure her control doesn't get out of whack here in the 5th inning. Main-Presque, bad defense by the Knights. Some bunts, taking the extra base, a few walks here and there, and that's how basically they got their 6 runs. Swing and a miss there. Main-Presque has only really had 1 or 2 good shots to the outfield. The rest of their offense, their 6 runs, has really been manufactured and assisted, obviously, by the Knights' errors. That one fouled off. Knights really could use a 1-2-3 inning here, Seth, and then if they can go on offense and maybe get a run or 2 in the bottom of the inning, suddenly we've got almost a brand new game for the final 2 innings. Swung on, fouled just off by the hitter.
Yeah, and you know the Knights believe they can do it. They've been, again, striking the ball well, really hitting it, squaring it up, and but they've just been hitting it to wherever those Main-Presque defenders are. And
Main-Presque, you know, they've had a few errors along the way, but they've really played good defense.
They really have.
Harmon does not want to walk any hitters here to start this 5th inning. Trying to get the first out of the 5th, and she racks up another strikeout.
That was a big strikeout there. Megan started that at bat with a couple of balls. Looked like her command was kind of getting a little squirrely, but was able to dial it back in and complete the strikeout.
And now she'll go to work on the next hitter, again trying to achieve for the first time today a 1-2-3 inning. That pitch hit right to third. Caitlin Barber puts it away, and quickly 2 gone for the Owls in the top of the 5th inning. And now Alyssa Edwards, the leadoff hitter, will come to the plate for the Owls. She is trying to get on base to make sure Megan Harmon doesn't have a 1-2-3 inning. Low and inside, ball 1. If Megan Harmon can get the third out here, the Knights would go to the bottom of the 5th, starting things off with Katie Rose Helms, the bottom of the order, and then Tara Nova, the top of the order. Pitch grounded,
And they're going to call it fair. Interesting.
Yeah.
It was pretty close.
Barber, the first baseman, had a chance to field that ball, maybe even step on the base. For some reason, she thought maybe it was going to go foul and let it go, and it turns out to be a single instead.
Yeah, kind of a weird play there. You'd like to see Gabbert just pick that ball up just in case.
Yeah, and it looked like she was going to get ready to field it, Seth, and backed off it for some reason.
So now Harmon's got to do a little more work here. Hopefully won't be too costly, that decision by Gabbert.
Two outs, runner at first base. Harmon trying to keep Main-Presque off the board for just the second inning of this game. Again, it's a doubleheader today. We will only be webcasting the first game for you, not the second game. Our next webcast after the softball game and the first game of this doubleheader will be tomorrow, 1 o'clock in men's lacrosse action against Cazenovia. Two outs, Knights trailing 6-3, and Harmon gets another foul off. So Megan will try with this pitch to pick up the third out of the fifth inning. Pitch is low.
And not a bad pitch there. Seeing if she'll chase after something, but good discipline by Main-Presque.
Edwards, the runner at first, good speed. Swung on and missed. Big strikeout for Megan Harmon. We'll go to the bottom of the fifth, and I'd still trail by 3. It's 6-3, Main-Presque.
There were 0 runs, 1 hit, 0 errors, and 1 run.
Welcome back to Knights Softball. I'm Jim Bresnahan along with Seth Hansen, and we're going to the bottom of the fifth inning. The Knights trail Main-Presque 6-3. Knights fell behind after 2 innings, 5-0. Finally got on the scoreboard. Bethany Hudson had a homer last inning. The Knights still trail here 6-3 with Katie Rose Helms leading off the bottom of the fifth inning, and then Heather Tiranova, the top of the order, followed by Megan Harmon.
This is a big inning for the Knights. This is how that first scoring inning started, with Katie Rose getting on base. So need something big from her right now.
Infield obviously pulled in, looking for the bunt, and Katie Rose swings away at that first pitch and fouls it back. Helms was able to get a bunt single back in the third inning, as the Knights were able to get 2 runs in the third. Helms doesn't like the look of that pitch. She's trying to get on base. Tiranova would follow, then Megan Harmon. Knights are down by 3 here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Helms drives it to the outfield for a hit. Fielded cleanly by the center fielder, but Katie Rose Helms showing rare power, driving that ball into the outfield, and she has got a couple of hits today. Katie Rose really swinging the bat very good.
Wow, and that's exactly what you need out of Katie Rose in that situation. It's the only way you can beat when those corner infielders are sneaking up, playing the bunt. The best thing you can do is just slap it over their head, and she did exactly that. So no outs, and you got some great speed on first for the Knights.
And Terranova, dynamite hitter, drives that ball to the outfield. It goes to right center and is caught by the right fielder. Nice catch there. Helms is straying off, and she is almost going to be doubled off. I don't know what she was thinking there. She was straying off, thinking she was almost going to try to tag up at the last second, and she got almost halfway in between. If the first baseman catches that ball, Seth, it's an easy double off, but the first baseman, Terry, dropped the ball, fortunately for the Knights.
Yeah.
Knights have had some questionable base running errors today, and they are fortunate to avoid a big problem there. It's 1 out and 1 on, and Harmon the hitter, and she pops it up foul.
Yeah, Katie Rose got real lucky there that the first baseman dropped it. And Terranova, man, she really drove that ball.
Yeah.
It was close to the warning track there, but nice play by the right fielder.
So the Knights still have a runner at first in Helms. There's 1 gone here in the 5th. And Megan Harmon trying to get something started with the base hit. Drives it to second base. They'll get the out at first. Helms stops at second. So there's a runner at second, but there are 2 outs now for the Knights. And it's going to come down to Maddie Rigby. Madison Rigby, the 5'2 sophomore from Blackfoot, Idaho, really needs to deliver a hit here.
And you'd imagine anything that reaches the outfield has a good shot at scoring Katie Rose here.
Knights really could use this run. They are down by 3. If they don't score here in the 5th, they've only got 2 more chances in the 6th and the 7th. And there's a called strike on the corner. Packard still pitching for Main-Presque, the starting right-handed pitcher. Hilton's on deck. There are 2 outs. The Knights are hoping for a big hit here from Maddie Rigby. There's another called strike. So Rigby's going to have to deliver a hit with a couple of strikes on her now. Packard ready to go again. It's fouled off. Hit the catcher for Main-Presque, and that's got to hurt no matter what the weather conditions are like, but probably especially hurts in these kind of cold temperatures.
Yeah, look to see. Looks like she's trying to shake it off here. Hopefully she'll be all right.
Looks like they're all ready to go again here. So again, a chance here for Rigby with a base hit to give the Knights their 4th run. Packard trying to lock down the 3rd out of the 5th inning. Rigby drives it deep. And it is going to go way foul down the left field line. Straighten that out at 6-5.
Wow, Rigby giving it a ride. Short 5'2 frame, but man, there was some pop in that bat right there in that swing. Just a little early though.
Makes you question those people who park in the first row of
Yeah,
the parking lot.
I'm glad I parked a little further away.
Rigby will try to straighten that one out, and she pops it up. Will it stay in play? No, it's going to go foul just beyond the cage. So Rigby stays alive with 2 outs here in the 5th inning. It is 6-3, Main-Presque.
And you see the outfielders now are backed up all the way to the warning track. At least center and left field are taking Madison Rigby pretty serious.
Hilton's the on-deck hitter. Helms at second base. 2 outs in the 5th. High pitch. Rigby wouldn't mind a walk. Would give Hilton a chance with 2 runners on, and then suddenly Hilton would be the tying run coming to the plate. Fouled back. Still 2 strikes on Maddie Rigby.
Tough at bat by Rigby here. Really fouling him off, staying alive. Just waiting to run into one.
Hoping to deliver a single, if nothing else, into the outfield to bring home Helms. Fouled again. Knights again falling behind early 5-0, made it 5-2. And right now 6-3 here in the 5th inning. There are 2 outs. It'll take a base hit by Rigby to make it 6-4. Pitch is inside. Again, Tara Hilton is the on-deck hitter. She would be followed by Bethany Hudson, who hit a homer last time. Driven to the outfield, base hit. 6-4, Helms will score, and
Rigby
over to second base is Rigby, and she just got in there.
A slide by Rigby, wow. I thought for sure she was going to be hosed at second base.
Yeah, the ball definitely beat her there.
Definitely beat her, but man, she went to the far side of the bag and just slid under that tag. What a play by Rigby.
Almost another situation where a base running mistake resulted in the 3rd out. Instead, Rigby, with that fantastic slide, has put herself in scoring position, and now Hilton, in a 6-4 game, can drive her in with a base hit. Pitch is high. Who knows? That might be one of the key plays in a Knights comeback. The Knights still trail here by 2 runs in the 5th inning. And Hilton cranks it to the outfield and deep, and it is gone. 6-6.
Look at Hilton coming up huge. 2 outs here in the 5th. Runner on and gives her team the tie game right here. That was impressive.
Tara Hilton hitting it to left center, and she got it up in the wind, and that thing just kept carrying and went over the fence, Seth, with several feet to spare. And suddenly it is 6-6 as the Knights have tied it after trailing early 5-0.
She gave that thing a ride. It wasn't really a moonshot, wasn't a whole lot of air on it, a line drive type of trajectory, but man, it got out of here quick. A lot of power in that hit right there.
So now Bethany Hudson, who homered last time up, comes to the plate, and suddenly the game is tied at 6. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, the Knights have scored 3 runs. And now suddenly the Knights are thinking about another homer that would give them the lead for the first time today.
It's been an excellent game, and we talked earlier, you're going to find out a lot about this Knights team, what kind of fight and grit they have, and they're proving it right here that they're never going to quit on you.
Well, here in the last couple of innings, the Knights have really made the comeback with the long ball, whereas Main-Presque, they got that big lead thanks to some bad defense by the Knights and a lot of slap hits, sacrifice hits, bunts, and walks. And that ball is hit to the left field. This one is a little short of the warning track, and it's bobbled and it comes loose for a hit, as it'll be an error on the left fielder. Hudson, though, gets all the way to second base. It looked like a routine fly set to left field, and the left fielder was under the ball, and she caught it momentarily, just could not bring it into the glove.
I think again, that has something to do with that wind. Of course, it is really windy out here. And when you get a swirling wind up like that, it's going to mess with the ball's path there in the air. And she just overran it a little bit, and it's a tough play. It's not as easy as it looks, but big break for the Knights.
Now the Knights have the go-ahead run at second base in a 6-6 game, and Gabbard is the hitter with, again, Hudson at second base. Gabbard the hitter, then Michaela Johnson. The Knights have suddenly tied the game on the Hilton homer, and now maybe with a base hit by Gabbard, they could actually take the lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Knights trying to get their first lead of the game. There's a called strike. Well, it's anybody's game right now, but there's no question the Knights have the momentum.
Yeah, things are starting to bounce their way right now, as you saw in that last play.
Gabbard punches it foul down the first base line. Gabbard's had some hits down the right field line this season. She can do that right now. She would bring home Hudson, and the Knights would take a 7-6 lead. Gabbard pops it up, and the catcher grabs it for the third out. But the Knights got a Tara Hilton homer. They score 3 times. We'll go to the top of the 6th, and we're all even at 6.
Bottom of the 5th, there were 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 error in the field, and 1 runner left on base.
Welcome back to Harvey Dryden Field here at Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Seth Hansen, and the Knights have come all the way back from a 5-0 deficit to tie the game at 6. And you got to look at a lot of different heroes, including Katie Rose Helms, the right fielder, who's got a couple of hits today and scored a couple of runs, as well as the big homers by Bethany Hudson that made it a 6-3 game, and then Tara Hilton's 2-run homer that made it 6-6.
Yeah, and Tara Hilton's homer was to the deep part of the field, basically dead center, maybe left center a little bit, but huge play from someone who you don't think has a lot of pop in her bat, Tara, but she really came up big there.
That ball drilled to center field for the Owls to start the top of the 6th inning. A base hit by Delaney Strout, and so now their cleanup hitter, Terry, will come to the plate as the Main-Presque Isles have blown a 5-0 lead at 6-6. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Anybody's ball game right now, and Main-Presque Isles trying to go back on top as wind gust swirls that outfield or the infield dirt all over the place, and as a result, the ump steps in and says, "Let's wait a few seconds before the next pitch."
Before we all go blind here behind the plate. Good call there, and going to resume playing.
In the background, they should really pop on if they've got it ready, a little Clint Eastwood Western music.
Exactly.
That ball hit to shortstop, and Bethany Hudson able to grab it. She had to battle the wind gust. It was a little looper, and it almost looked like for a second that was going to drop into short left field, but Hudson makes a big play there for the first out of the 6th inning.
Yeah, good hustle. She didn't have the greatest beat on the ball there. Didn't track it off the bat as well, but really made up for it. Good way to get underneath that and make the nice play.
So 1 on, 1 out. And that ball is ripped to right field. Helms grabs it for the second out. She hung right with it, trying to battle those winds. And suddenly 2 outs now for Main-Presque Isle after they got their first hitter on base with a single.
Not just 1 out away from going to the bottom of the 6th. That would be huge for the Knights. If they can just get a run, they might be out of this game with a victory.
Yeah, if they could score, and obviously keep Main-Presque Isle off the scoreboard, Seth, and score a run, they're just 4 outs away from a possible victory.
Right, and just a few innings ago, it looked like that was pretty far out of reach.
Knights trailed early 5-0 at one point, down 6-2, but the Hudson homer made it 6-3. Hilton's homer helped make it 6-6, and Megan Harmon is trying to get out of the 6th inning without allowing any runs. She allowed 5 runs, probably all unearned in the first 2 innings, but in innings 3, 4, and 5, she only allowed 1 run.
The defense has certainly picked it up from those first couple innings. Hasn't been perfect, but has definitely done more of their part, as you've seen with these 2 outs here in this inning.
Pitch is going to be ruled low. I believe Michaela Johnson will start the bottom of the 6th for the Knights, to be followed by Barber, and then Helms. That ball's punched, and it's punched foul. Barber trying to nail down the 3rd out of the 6th inning. Pitch is inside. And Melanie Payton probably going to pitch game 2 for the Knights of this doubleheader. It's a doubleheader, but we're only webcasting the first game. Knights trying to pick up their 7th win of the year. If they can win the second game of the doubleheader, they got a chance to reach the 500 mark. That pitch grounded up the middle. Hudson grabs it, fires over. That's the 3rd out. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. It is still 6-6 between Main-Presque Isle and Southern Virginia.
At the top of the 6th, there was 0 runs, 1 hit, 0 errors in the field, and 1 runner left on base.
Welcome back to Southern Virginia University. Softball tonight for the Knights. Brooklyn Garcia, backup pitcher for Main-Presque, has come in relief of Packard. Garcia's a freshman. She takes over as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning in a 6-6 game. Knights will start things off here in the bottom of the 6th with Michaela Johnson, then Caitlin Barber, and Katie Rose Helms. It's the bottom of the order, but it's been really a productive bottom of the order today.
Yeah, not a huge surprise to see the pitching change here. The Knights really had figured out Packard. That ball's driven. Looks like going to be foul, though.
We found down the left field line for Michaela Johnson, who's trying to get on base. Caitlin Barber would follow, and then Katie Rose Helms, who's got a couple of hits and has scored a couple of runs today, and then you go right back to the top of the order.
The Knights, as I was saying, really had kind of figured out Packard there, really were getting on top of those pitches, and obviously has led to the comeback now as we have a tie game 6-6, so not surprising to see the new pitcher here.
Knights have never led in this game, hoping to take the lead here in the 6th inning and turn it over to Megan Harmon to the top of the 7th for 3 outs and a victory. And needless to say, they would love to get a run here in the 6th, but they would love to get multiple runs to give Megan a bit of a cushion. The Knights have never led in this game, trailing early 5-0 and tying the game at 6. Popped up. And that's going to be the first out of the 6th inning. So Michaela Johnson not able to deliver, not able to get on base, and Caitlin Barber, a freshman from Bountyville, Utah, will come to the plate. Barber trying to get on base to give Katie Rose Helms a chance maybe to perhaps bunt the ball, which she did the first time up, or slap the ball to the outfield, which she did the second time up.
Katie Rose has been seeing the ball really well all season, really. Just has been hitting it and doing what she needs to for her team, and so I'm sure Coach Pendleton would love to have Barber on first with Katie Rose up to bat.
Knights have 2 big homers today, one by the freshman Hudson, 2-run shot by Tara Hilton. Knights came into the game today with just 1 homer as a team, and Barber fouls that one off.
Yeah, just the 1 homer. That was by Heather Terranova, the catcher, who's really led the way batting for this team, but picked up 2 more today from the likes of Tara Hilton and Bethany Hudson.
1 out, nobody on. Barber trying to get something started, and she hits the ball deep, and it is headed to the left field line, and it's going to go out of play and foul.
Man, the Knights really love that left field corner. Seen a few balls hit out that way, including Bethany Hudson's that just sneaked inside that foul pole, but close there, just a little early.
Barber would love to straighten that out to give the Knights the lead here in the 6th inning. Pitch is way high. Knights will take the walk the way Helms has been swinging the bat. And again, they go right back to the top of the order after Helms. There is 1 out, though, here in the 6th inning for the Knights. 6-6 is your score.
Another good eye there.
Let's see if Barber maybe can draw a walk, or if Garcia puts the next pitch right across the middle. And that pitch is high. So suddenly Garcia throwing wild. 3 straight balls here to Caitlin Barber, another freshman. And Barber is trying to get on base. We'll see if Garcia, with her wildness, if that continues or not here with this pitch coming up to Caitlin Barber. It's high again and outside, ball 4. So Barber's on first base. Here comes Helms, the left-hander, who had a bunt single her first time up and then shot the ball into left center her second time up. 2 singles, 2 runs scored. If nothing else, she wants to advance the runner to second base to give Terranova a chance with a single to give the Knights the lead.
Terranova has hit the ball really strong in this game. She hasn't done much damage because it keeps going right to the outfielders, but she's squaring the ball up, so you like your chances with Terranova at the plate.
Helms trying to bunt, and it's foul. one thing's for sure, they don't think Helms can pull the ball. The right fielder is over in right center. If Helms was able to get around to that ball and shoot it down the right field line, she might get an inside the park homer.
Definitely. She's so quick. But probably not in her game at this point. She's trying to lay down the bunt here. At least give Terranova a shot at the plate with the runner on second. She also obviously has a good chance to beat the throw to first.
Another bunt. First baseman will grab it, throw over to make the play at first for the second out, but Barber got over to second base, so Helms does her job, moving the runner, Barber, from first over to second, and now Terranova, with a hit, can give the Knights the lead, their first lead of the game, and put them within 3 outs of victory. Let's see if Terranova, who's been hitting the ball very well but up in the air, can drive out a base hit into the outfield.
See how deep the outfielders are playing right now.
And Megan Harmon, pretty good hitter herself, is on deck. And just in case they decide to pitch around Terranova and really don't give her anything to hit.
Yeah, it's not a situation really where walking Terranova might be the answer. I mean, that might be what they choose to do, but
high pitch again.
You're definitely not in the clear with Megan Harmon batting behind her.
Outfield basically straight away for Terranova. And deep. Another ball. No, that one's a called strike. So now Terranova, with Barber, the freshman, at second base, has a chance here with a base hit. Again, the Knights have never led, trying to give the Knights their first lead of the game here at the bottom of the 6th inning. Terranova pops it up, and it's going to be out of play for the second strike. So Terranova still alive here with a chance, again, with a base hit to give the Knights their first lead of the game. Garcia, the freshman pitcher, relieving Packard for Main-Presque. She's trying to nail down the 3rd out of the 6th inning. Terranova looking for the big hit, and it's low. Lead the count now 3-2 with Barber at second. And again, Megan Harmon, the left-handed hitter, is on deck.
Big spot right here for Terranova.
Knights have a couple of homers today, and that ball is drilled, and it's drilled foul down the left field line.
I tell you what, Jim, they call the third base the hot corner for a reason. That thing was screaming down the line. Just foul, though, unfortunately for the Knights.
Terranova trying to give the Knights the lead, and she pops it up. And that will be the 3rd out of the inning. So the Knights unable to score. We go to the 7th inning. It's Southern Virginia 6 and Main-Presque 6.
At the bottom of the 6th, there were 0 runs on 0 hits, 0 errors in the field, and 1 runner left on base.
Welcome back to night softball here from Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Seth Hansen. We are ready to go. Top of the 7th inning in a 6-6 game. Again, the Knights trailed early 5-0 after 2 innings, but they caught up to make it 6-6 on Tara Hilton's homer. And now we're going to the top of the 7th. And this one's anybody's ball game as Megan Harmon will try to retire the Main-Presque Owls here in the top of the 7th to give her team a chance to win the game in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, biggest inning right here for Megan Harmon. Just needs to she really just needs to pitch how she's been pitching, but really could use some help from her defense to go 1, 2, 3.
Have to check out the box score. She may not have allowed any earned runs today. Knights have had a lot of errors early. Again, Main-Presque, they scored 5 runs in the first 2 innings, but then again, Seth, they left 5 runners on base in the first 2 innings.
Yeah, it's definitely been a crazy game defensively for the Knights and for Megan, even though she's been pitching so well.
And she is trying to maybe get her first 1, 2, 3 inning of the game here in the 7th inning. Knights would start off the bottom of the 7th with Megan Harmon, Maddie Rigby, and Tara Hilton. Harmon trying to get the first out. Ball right back to her. Easy out. 1 down for the Owls in the top of the 7th inning.
Now batting number 2, Nicole Marucci.
So Megan Harmon able to get the first hitter out. That pitch fouled off. Megan's done a pretty good job with the defense behind her, at times lacking, Seth, and the windy conditions and the cold weather to maintain her composure and her control.
Yeah, she's really grinding it out. She got a lot of experience last year as a freshman. The ball slapped foul. So she's definitely been in tough spots here, Megan, and they expect a lot out of her. She's showing her poise right now.
And we're only webcasting the first game. Melanie Payton most likely will start game 2 for the Knights as the pitcher. Megan Harmon with 2 strikes on the hitter, trying to pick up the second out of the 7th inning. Swung on and missed. Too quickly gone here for the Owls. Knights looking for that 1, 2, 3 inning, and then looking for a run in the bottom of the 7th to win the game. What a loss this would be for Main-Presque, just playing their 5th game of the year, 2-2 of the season, to jump out to a big 5-0 lead and dominate early and then perhaps not win the game after all.
Yeah, that would be an emotional blow. Definitely have to have felt good with that big lead early on, but you got to play all the way through 7 innings to really feel good. So
remember, it took several innings, Seth, for the Knights just to get their first hit, and then they caught up to Packard and delivered those 2 big homers.
And the Knights, they'd been driving the ball. They'd had contact. It wasn't like Packard had been striking them out, but they finally, as you mentioned, took a couple innings, so they found some gaps and some holes in the infield.
And now Harmon's trying to get the 3rd out of the inning. Ball's popped up to short right field. Katie Rose Helms makes the running catch. That's the 3rd out. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. The Knights only need a run to win the game. It's 6-6 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning.
There were 0 runs on 0 hits, 0 errors in the field, and 0 runners left on base.
Welcome back to Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan, joined by Seth Hansen, bringing you all the action of Game 1 of this doubleheader for Knights softball game. We're not webcasting game number 2, but the Knights, after trailing early 5-0, had battled back to tie the game at 6, and now they just need a run here at the bottom of the 7th inning to lock up their 7th win of the season.
Yeah, I can't believe if you told me this back in the second inning, Jim, I don't know if I'd have believed you that we'd be tied here and the Knights have a chance to win it. Really need Megan Harmon, who's pitched a pretty good game despite the score. She's pitched a pretty good game. She needs to come up big here at the dish.
Rigby would be the on-deck hitter, then Tara Hilton. Harmon trying to get something started. Garcia, the freshman pitcher, there's a called strike. Harmon is trying to get on base and then turn it over to Maddie Rigby and Tara Hilton. Hilton, of course, had the big 2-run homer that tied the game. Knights would rather not go to extra innings since this is a doubleheader, and there's a foul back, and quickly Harmon's got 2 strikes on her now.
Yeah, they'd love to just take care of business here. Just need to get on base. Give yourself an opportunity.
Knights came in 6-8 on the season, hoping to get a doubleheader sweep to reach the 500 mark on the season after starting the season 0-6. Trying to go to 8-8 with a doubleheader sweep. They need to win this first game, though. A pitch low and in the dirt. Harmon looking for a pitch that she can hit. She seems to like to go the other way to left field. We'll see if she tries to pull the ball here or just protects the plate with a couple of strikes on her. And Harmon goes down to third base. Throw over, and it is first out of the inning here for the Knights. And now it'll be Maddie Rigby, the sophomore from Blackfoot, Idaho, coming to the plate with 1 out and nobody on base.
If you're going to hit the ball, if you're playing for the Knights for Southern Virginia, you definitely want to stay away from the left side of that infield. Main-Presque, the Owls, they've really done well on that side of the infield, the third baseman and the shortstop.
Especially the third baseman. It's kind of looked like Brooks Robinson from the Orioles,
Yep.
The Hall of Famer, who just eats everything up, and she has really made some good plays today defensively at third base. And now it's up to Rigby and Hilton, the next 2 hitters, to try to get something started for the Knights here in the 7th inning with already 1 out.
We saw Rigby in her last at bat drive one deep. It went just foul, but if it had stayed fair, it definitely was over the fence.
She's got the power, as does Hilton, to end this game with 1 shot. Knights already have 2 homers today. Effort to bunt is a called strike. 6-6, so a home run would win it. Knights right now just thinking base runners, trying to get somebody on to put the pressure on the freshman pitcher, Garcia, the relief pitcher for Main-Presque. Driven, third base, bobbled that time. Throw over, and they still get the base runner, the hitter, Rigby, for the 2nd out. And so 2 quick outs for the Knights. And now it is Tara Hilton, who homered last time up. Again, she can end this game with a homer. And if she picks up the 3rd out instead, we'll go to the 8th inning. We'll go to extra innings. All right, wouldn't that be something if Tara Hilton could hit her 2nd homer of the day to lock down this victory for the Knights. Pitch floats up there for a strike. Hilton's got good speed, and Hudson, who's also got some power, who homered today, is on deck. So Hilton would, in lieu of a homer, would love to get on base, maybe get over to second base in scoring position, and then leave it over to the freshman Bethany Hudson for a hit.
Yeah, Hilton getting on base would be huge here with Hudson hit behind her.
Pitch is low. Knights played extra innings just a few weeks ago against Guilford and lost. Giving up 8 runs in the 8th inning. Pitch floats in there for a strike.
Ooh, that
looked like high and outside.
Tough call there for Hilton. So now she's got to protect. She's got to, anything close, she's got to put it in play or at least get her bat on it.
See if she swings away now. And she hits it to the outfield, to center field, and it's going to be caught for the 3rd out. We're going to extra innings. We'll go to the top of the 8th inning. We have played 7. It is Southern Virginia 6 and Main-Presque Isle 6. Jim Bresnahan, Seth Hansen back here with you for extra innings. We're going to the top of the 8th inning, a 6-6 game for the Knights and the Owls of Main-Presque Isle. The Main-Presque Isle Owls jumping out to a 5-0 lead in this game early on. The Knights were able to rally to tie it. Of course, in extra innings in softball, each team will start their offensive frame of the inning with a runner already at second base in an effort to generate some offense. Seth, obviously with a lot of women's doubleheaders, they want to make sure that they don't have games that last 15 or 20 innings in any extra inning affairs, so they give the offense a chance to jumpstart themselves by starting the inning with a runner at second base. So runner at second for Main-Presque Isle. Nobody gone for them here in the 8th inning, and Megan Harmon will try to pick up an out. That ball bunted, throw over. They get the hitter for the first out, but now Main-Presque Isle's got a runner at third with one out.
And that's the smart play when you're at the plate in that situation, because now you got one out, runner on third. Especially in softball, we've seen a few balls go behind the plate. So
I wonder if you can liken this to football. If you get only one run, it's kind of like, starting from the other team's 25-yard line, kicking a field goal. You didn't get the big thing, you didn't get the touchdown, but you got at least a run.
Something, yeah.
So Megan Harmon, after getting the out on the bunt attempt, what she really could use here, Seth, is either a strikeout or a pop-up of the infield.
Yeah, certainly. Even a ground ball might score that run, so she needs to try and avoid that.
There's a swinging strike, and quickly 2 strikes on the hitter as Megan Harmon is trying to pick up a critical second out here in the 8th inning. Wouldn't that be something if the Knights can not allow any runs here in the 8th? Then they would start the bottom of the 8th with a runner at second and with a chance to win the game. There's called strike 3. Throw down, the runner's back, but the Knights are able to pick up that big second out.
That was a great pitch by Megan Harmon there. Just caught the knees, the bottom of the strike zone, but certainly was a strike. So 2 outs now. The defense can relax a little bit. If something's hitting to the outfield, that's okay with 2 outs gone now.
Yeah, just got to worry about the hitter and make sure they don't have any wild pitches. Grounded to third. Barber fields, throws over, throws in the dirt, and Gabbard scoops it for the 3rd out.
Nice pick by Gabbard. That looked scary there for a minute, but, man, that's a huge, huge play that if they go on to win, you're going to look at that play as being crucial.
And the Knights will go to the bottom of the 8th with a chance to get a victory. If they could score a run, we'll go to the bottom of the 8th in a 6-6 game. So the Knights are going to start the bottom of the 8th with Tara Hilton, their designated runner, at second base. Again, nobody out to start the bottom of the 8th inning. The Knights have the winning run at second base. And Bethany Hudson, who has a homer today, has a chance with a single with Hilton speed to really end this game, this first game of this doubleheader, with a 7-6 Knights win if they can score Hilton from second base.
Yeah, you said it, Jim. Hilton runs real well. Probably the only player that runs better than her might be Helms. But you like having Hilton on second in this position. Just needs something to the outfield would be huge.
And again, Hudson is the hitter, followed by Gabbert, and then Michaela Johnson. And it was a heck of a play, though, by Gabbert to scoop up that throw to get the third out of the 8th inning.
It looks like you're going to have another pitching change back to Packard.
Yeah, Packard comes in, the right-hander.
An interesting move. Garcia had shut down this Knights lineup pretty well since she'd come in, but it looks like they want to go with Packard, who
also earlier in the game surrendered a homer to the hitter Hudson.
Definitely. So interesting move here. We'll see what happens, though.
Now, if you're Hudson, are you looking to bunt to get Hilton over, or are you swinging away trying to drive her in with a single?
Your guess is as good as mine. I feel like because you only need one to win, you'd be real tempted to bunt.
Well, you got Gabbert and Johnson to follow, both good hitters, but they really haven't been swinging the bat too effectively today. So let's see if Bethany Hudson, who's got a homer today, swings away or just tries to bunt the ball to get Hilton over to third base.
That's the infield's playing like she's trying to bunt.
And she does bunt. Up in the air, and it's caught. And Hilton, fortunately, didn't get too far over to third base. And so Hudson bunting the ball, bunts it right to the third baseman up in the air for the catch. And there's one gone, and Hilton is still at second base. And now the Knights really need a base hit.
You almost want Hudson to pretend to bunt there and then step back and just take a swing at it. You had the defense out of position, but
Molly Gabbert was the hero defensively in the top of the 8th. Will she be the hero offensively here in the bottom of the 8th inning with a base hit?
I think you just got to let her swing here, let her find a gap.
And she hits the ball deep to left field, and it is caught by the left fielder. Hilton not able to advance.
Man, that wind really knocked it down there, it looked like.
That ball, I really thought it for a second there it was going to carry.
Man, and how big now is that failed bunt attempt? Because that certainly would have scored Hilton from third.
Oh, no question.
But two nice defensive plays by the Owls. So 2 outs now. Really need a big hit from Michaela Johnson here.
Otherwise, we'll go to the 9th inning. Michaela Johnson needs a single to score Hilton. 6-6 game. Fouled back. Otherwise, we'll play on into the 9th inning as we're in the bottom of the 8th right now in a 6-6 game. And this is a doubleheader today. We're only webcasting the first game, but these ladies got to play 2 games today. And a strike called on Michaela Johnson. Hilton trying to get a good lead to make sure she scores around third. If Michaela Johnson puts this ball to the outfield right now, Johnson's going to have to swing the bat. She's got 2 strikes on her. Michaela trying to deliver the winning hit in the 8th inning for the Knights. And that pitch outside.
And I imagine anything close you're going to see Hilton go, or you'll see Coach Pendleton send Hilton, because 2 outs, good speed, you like your chances.
Michaela Johnson trying to deliver the game-winning hit. It's high.
Good eye there.
On deck hitter would be Caitlin Barber. And then Katie Rose Helms if we get that far. Here comes the pitch. Strike 3 on the corner. Knights do not score.
That was a very liberal strike zone right there. That's a tough call, but that's how it goes sometimes, I guess.
We go to the 9th inning in a 6-6 game. Jim Bresnahan, Seth Hansen, we're going to the 9th inning in an extra inning affair in game 1 of this doubleheader between Main-Presque and Southern Virginia in a 6-6 game. And now we'll go to the 9th inning with Megan Harmon again out there trying to deliver another scoreless inning to get her team in position in the bottom of the 9th to win this game.
They had a good inning last time out, Megan, after giving up that single to start the inning. Or excuse me, after that bunt to move the runner over, she was able to get those last 2 outs. So expect to see the same. You're going to see a bunt here, as I would imagine, but I could be wrong. Infield playing back.
Yeah, Main-Presque starts the top of the 9th with a runner, obviously the designated runner at second base. Yeah, the question is, with their cleanup hitter, Terry the hitter, will they go ahead and try to bunt? Move that runner from second to third, or will they allow their cleanup hitter to swing away? She swings away, drives it right to third base. Barber bobbles, throws over, throws it into the dirt. It gets by Gabbert. The run will score, and Terry goes over to second base. Barber had the ball in plenty of time to make the play at first base, but she threw it low, and Gabbert could not scoop that one up at 7-6, Main-Presque. Now the Knights just simply have to find a way to not allow any more runs.
Yeah, Barber knocked it down well at third base there, but just kind of rushed the throw a little bit. And
there was no real reason to rush the throw. That ball got down to her so quickly.
Right.
That you just really got to focus on getting that first out over at first base, especially with Terry not a whole lot of speed. And now Terry's at second base. Still nobody out here for the Owls in the top of the 9th at 7-6, Main-Presque. Now they'll try to bunt, and it's bunted foul. The Knights know, of course, they'll have a runner to start the bottom of the 9th with a runner at second base. But right now, Seth, they got to make sure this becomes nothing more than a one-run game. An attempt on a high pitch.
And that run being scored, I mean, that's pretty fitting on what we've seen in this game. Megan Harmon not pitching bad at all. A play that's in the infield, just couldn't be made by the defense.
It's a good play by Barber to knock it down, just could not make a throw over. There's a strike.
Certainly is the hot corner, as we keep talking about, and that ball was on her quick. She did a good job, just couldn't finish with the throw.
I guess another option could have been for her to fake the throw and then try to catch the runner from second base going to third. That pitch just popped up. Barber grabs it for the first out. So one gone here for the Owls in the top of the 9th inning. Still a runner at second base. 7-6, Main-Presque leading here. And Megan Harmon trying to work out of further damage to make sure the Owls only score once here in the 9th inning. Owls hoping for another run. That ball punched into right field for a base hit. Terry got a late break, and she will hold at third. It's first and third. That was a seeing eye hit, with very reminiscent of some of the hits Main-Presque got back in the first couple of innings.
Yeah, just a little bloop shot. Michaela Johnson just couldn't get there, just a little out of her reach. So first and third now with one out.
We talked about it. This is the situation for Megan Harmon where she could really use the strikeout or the pop-up on the infield. Trying desperately to make sure this becomes nothing more than a one-run lead for Main-Presque. Pitch is low. Will Main-Presque try to get that runner from first to second, maybe on some sort of double steal attempt? Even though Terry, not a big threat to try to steal home as part of a double steal. Pitch is low. Harmon could not afford a walk here to load the bases. Knights really want to make sure this becomes nothing more than a one-run deficit in the bottom of the 9th inning. Popped up foul. Terranova grabs it for the second out. Big play there by the catcher, Terranova, to find that ball quickly with throwing her mask off, and now 2 outs with runners at the corners.
Yeah, good athletic play. That is so tough as a catcher to see the foul ball, get your mask off, and then locate the ball again in the air. Plus, that catcher's mitt, it's different than catching a fly ball in a regular fielder's mitt. So, impressive play by Terranova.
So first and third and 2 outs. Harmon trying to get the third out of the 9th inning. And that pitch is popped up, and Megan will grab it for the third out. We will go to the bottom of the 9th. It's Main-Presque 7 and Southern Virginia 6.
In the top of the 9th, there was 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error in the field, and 2 runners left on base.
Welcome back to Southern Virginia Softball. I'm Jim Bresnahan, along with Seth Hansen. We're going to the bottom of the 9th inning, one of the longest softball games we've ever done, Seth.
Certainly true.
2 extra innings, and Michaela Johnson will be the designated runner for the Knights to start the bottom of the 9th inning. And the hitter will be Caitlin Barber, followed by Katie Rose Helms, and then the top of the order with Terranova, the catcher, the number 1 hitter. Knights need a run to tie, need 2 to win.
You're going to see a bunt here.
Bunt by Barber. Throw over to first base. And they get the first out. And over to third goes Michaela Johnson. So Katie Rose Helms now the hitter. She bunted, sacrifice bunter last time up. Right now, you start wondering about maybe some sort of squeeze bunt unless she tries to pop this ball into the outfield. Knights want to try to get their run home from third, Seth, with Katie Rose, and not try to get it with Heather Terranova with 2 outs.
Now you're in a real good spot if Katie Rose can get a base hit here, because Katie Rose on base with Terranova behind her is usually a combination of good things.
Katie Rose has 2 hits today along with that sacrifice. She scored 2 runs. She is trying to get her 3rd hit of the game and bring home Michaela Johnson from third base. Bunts it. And it's going to be a bunt base hit for Katie Rose, as the first baseman, Terry, grabbed the ball. No one at first base to make a play to. And they wanted to make sure Michaela Johnson did not advance. So suddenly it's first and third, 1 out. And here comes Terranova, who's driven the ball pretty well all day long, with really nothing to show for it. But if she can hit a gapper or maybe put the ball over the fence, the Knights will win this game.
If she finds a gap here, if she can get the ball to the fence, even if it doesn't go over, I imagine you're going to see game over here with Katie Helms on first.
Terranova, as Helms steals second base. Knights just wanted to make sure they got both runs into scoring position, so Helms gets the steal of second. So you got Michaela Johnson at third, Helms at second, 1 out. 7-6 Main-Presque, and Terranova the hitter with Harmon on deck. A single could win it for the Knights. Main-Presque looking for 2 more outs. Terranova bunts. The pitcher tries to throw home, and the ball's bobbled, and Michaela Johnson gets in for the tying run, and over to second base just in case is Terranova. Helms makes it over to third. It's 7-7. Well, the Owls had the play at the plate, and the catcher dropped the ball, Seth. I'm not sure if the catcher had held onto the ball, if that would have been an out or a safe, because Johnson got into the home plate very quickly.
Yeah, I think Johnson would have been safe either way because of where the catcher caught the ball on the other side of the plate, but no debate there.
Terranova bunting the ball.
Yeah, interesting play. So now Megan Harmon, if she can just get something,
base hit wins it.
On the ground or even deep outfield hit will tag up that runner. Good
speed, obviously, with Helms at third base and Terranova the runner at second. So a wild pitch, a pop-up to the outfield, anything on the ground, possibly even another bunt could win this game for the Knights in a 7-7 game here in the 9th inning. Harmon trying to be the winning pitcher with a big hit and bunts, and that's a strike. The on-deck hitter will be Maddie Rigby. Owls trying to get 2 more outs to send this game to the 10th. The Knights trying to win it right here in the bottom of the 9th.
Even a wild pitch here, you got a good shot of scoring.
Megan Harmon trying to end it here in the 9th inning. Bunts, and it's foul, just out of the reach of the catcher.
And that's going to be an out.
Yeah, it's the 3rd strike. So the Knights doing a lot of bunting here in the 9th inning. Terranova was able to do so successfully, not so with Megan Harmon. And now it's 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. And it's going to take maybe a base hit, or if we don't have a wild pitch, could take a base hit here by Rigby to win this game, or we're going to the 10th inning. Rigby trying to end it right here with a base hit. Popped up on the infield, and we're going to the 10th inning in a 7-7 game. Knights had 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, Seth, and could not score.
Just an unfortunate play right there.
Bottom of the 9th, there was 1 run.
So we'll go to the 10th inning, and again your score here, Main-Presque 7 and Southern Virginia 7. Jim Bresnahan, Seth Hansen back here with you at Harvey Dryden Field. Top of the 10th inning between Southern Virginia and Main-Presque. This game started in the first couple of innings with Main-Presque jumping to a 5-0 lead. Knights tied it at 6. And now we're going to the top of the 10th in a 7-7 game. Main-Presque has a runner at second base, as always. Designated runner out there at second base. And we'll see if the Owls start the top of the 10th with a bunt to try to advance the runner from second over to third. They do, and it's bunted foul. Knights for the bottom of the 10th would start things off, I believe, with Tara Hilton, followed by Bethany Hudson and then Molly Gabbert.
It'd be huge if they could get this out without the runner advancing to third.
Megan Harmon would love to get one of her strikeouts that she's had today. That pitch is high. Nobody at second base, so Terranova fakes a throw, but runner is back, and no one there to take a throw anyway. The Owls are trying to get a bunt down here to advance the runner at second over to third in a 7-7 game. Bunted right to Gabbert, tags the runner as she goes by the hitter, and that's the first out.
Good play by Gabbert to just apply the tag there. We're going to need some good pitching here by Harmon to get out of this.
Well, Harmon's done a pretty good job at times with a runner at third and only 1 out to work out of jams by getting the strikeout and perhaps even a pop-up. Either one would be good here for the Knights defensively. Pitch is a called strike on the corner, inside corner. Knights hoping to get a couple more outs, not allow that runner at third to score, and then end this game in the bottom of the 10th. Popped up and out of play to the left side foul. Just foul.
Looked pretty close from here. It did look foul, but that was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
You have to go back in the record books to see what's the longest game in Southern Virginia softball. When you talk about extra inning games, this one is right now on the top of the 10th. And because of each team starting with a runner at second base, you don't really see probably, I would imagine, 11, 12, 13 inning games.
No, this is a rarity for sure.
Swung on and missed. And Harmon gets a big second out there. Throw down, runners back. So 2 outs, runner at third. And now Megan Harmon will try to end this 10th inning without allowing a run.
That would be huge, especially with the top of the order here now for Main-Presque. She just needs to get out of this jam and let her offense try and do the work.
Swung on and missed. 7-7 game here in the top of the 10th. Knights would start, I believe, the bottom of the 10th with Tara Hilton. Make that Rigby. Rigby and Hilton would be the first 2 hitters up, and I believe Megan Harmon, who made the last out, she would.
I believe it was Rigby who made the last.
Yeah, Rigby did make the last out, so she would start at second base, and Hilton would be the leadoff hitter as the Knights try to get this 3rd out of the 10th inning.
Harmon pitching well. She's got 2 strikes now on her, so just needs to finish it off right here.
So Rigby, the runner at second base for the Knights in the bottom of the 10th, good speed. Certainly some good bats to follow. That pitch is low. Megan Harmon trying to work out of a jam here in the top of the 10th without allowing a run.
And it's not the end of the world if she walks her here. You know, you got 2 bases you kind of can play with 2 outs.
Trying that inside corner, missed. And this is a doubleheader for these ladies. We're only webcasting the first game, but they still got a game to follow this set, and I would imagine Melanie Payton will pitch that one for the Knights. Ball punched to Gabbert, grabs it, steps on the base, and I think they're going to rule that a foul ball, so we'll do it again.
That's like the play we saw earlier in the game where Gabbert thought it was foul and kind of let it go, so she made sure she picked it up that time.
Megan Harmon trying to get the strikeout in the 3rd out of the 10th inning, and that pitch is fouled back. And Megan has really thrown a lot of pitches, being a 10-inning game today for her. Harmon trying to nail down the 3rd out. Grounded down to Barber. Nice snap. Throws over. Got her. We'll go to the bottom of the 10th. It's 7-7. Bresnahan and Seth Hansen ready to go. Bottom of the 10th inning. Not sure if this is the longest game in Knights softball history, but certainly one of the longer ones. And we'll start the bottom of the 10th with Rigby. Maddie Rigby at second base. Tara Hilton is the hitter. 7-7 game. Much like the last inning, in the 9th inning, the Knights have a chance with a single run to win this game here in the bottom of the 10th.
It'll be interesting to see what Hilton does here if she wants to punt. Looks like she's going to try.
And takes a strike. Rigby.
Wow, Rigby took third.
Yeah, big steal there. So Rigby gets over, and now I would imagine Hilton, well, you never know. She could bunt here and try to bring Rigby home on a bunt, or she could pop this ball to the outfield and end this game in the 10th inning.
I think I'd be letting her swing away right here.
Hilton trying to end it here in the 10th inning. Drives it to the outfield, and the Knights win.
Wow, big spot for Hilton, coming up big with that line drive, solid base hit. And can you believe this, Jim? The Knights complete the comeback. It took them 10 innings, but they got it done. A real impressive, gritty win by the Knights there.
They were down 5-0, Seth. After the first couple of innings, they battled back on homers by Hudson and Hilton to make it 6-6, and then they outlast Main-Presque in extra innings in 10 innings to win this game 8-7 on the Tara Hilton hit. And you also have to credit Megan Harmon. What a game she pitched, dodging some errors and pitching 10 innings of solid baseball.
Oh yeah, Megan Harmon for sure. You know, the score isn't going to reflect it, how well she pitched, but anyone who understands that the defense is just as important for the pitcher, she kept everything low. They weren't hitting the ball out into the outfield very often. It was just a lot of mishandles by the defense. And then, of course, Tara Hilton doing it all by herself, ties it up in back earlier in the game, give them a 6-6 tie, and then coming around in the 10th, giving the base hit to win the game. Just real impressive by this softball team Southern Virginia has put out here.
And the Knights with the victory in this first game of the doubleheader, now improving to 7-8, and they'll have a chance, if they can win the second game of the doubleheader, to go to 8-8 on the season. Again, we're not webcasting game number 2, but congratulations to the Knights on a big victory here in game 1 of this doubleheader. The Knights rally from a 5-0 deficit to defeat Main-Presque in 10 innings, 8-7. Southern Virginia gets a big victory here in the first game of this doubleheader against the Main-Presque Owls. That'll wrap things up here from Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan for Seth Hansen and all of us here at Southern Virginia. Thanks again for joining us, everyone, for Knights softball.